Okay, so to repeat, you'll need a block, and if you don't have a block, you'll want like a towel or something that you can squeeze between your knees, so something firm, and then some furniture like a chair or something like that, and maybe blankets or pillows, okay, for padding. All right, well, here we go. I guess I don't need that one. Got this one. So we'll start in constructive rest on your back with your knees bent. And you'll want space to reach your arms overhead. And as you lie down on your back, you'll notice that when you are keeping your knees and your feet parallel, or you may or may not notice this, you might notice you have to use a little bit of energy in the legs to keep them parallel. So constructive rest often suggests, or I suggest in constructive rest, to widen the feet a little bit and just let the knees lean in against one another. In this way, the inner thighs can totally relax as the knees lean against one another like the poles of a teepee. So sometimes it takes a little bit of playing around with where to place your feet. In order to get a comfortable position. So settling in there, noticing how it feels, and then noticing how your back feels as well. Just what places are making contact with the floor, on your back, your feet, the back of your head, your arms. Now, the beginning of our core strength is really our breath. So we always begin with the breath, not just because it's the basis of core strength, but also because it helps to bring us into the present moment sometimes. So you can use your breath, just noticing it come in and notice it go out. And you don't have to change it at all if you don't want to at first here. So things you might notice about your breath is if it feels easy right now or strained in any way. You might notice if it's longer on the exhale or inhale. You might also notice wherever you feel your breath the most right now. And where can you feel the sensation of your breath the most? And now, if it feels okay to you, you could begin to use your umbrella breath, which is allowing or feeling for the lower rib cage all around to expand on the inhale. You could put your hands there if you wanted, or just feel it internally. And as you inhale, it's opening up like an umbrella. And as you exhale, it's deflating or closing that umbrella. Okay, one more like that, lengthening your exhale and widening your inhale. Okay, now you can stick with this breathing, and now let's take the feet and knees hips distance in parallel. So just a minor change. We're just taking the knees away from one another, okay? And I know you've all done the pelvic clock with me, and we're gonna do a portion of that, But first, let's just rock the pelvis. So as you inhale, let's press the low back down to the floor. And as you exhale, can you rock your pelvis forward? And now, if you can rock it quite a bit forward, you'll feel a curve in your low back. So I'm sliding I can fit my whole arm underneath my low back, between my low back and the floor when I rock it forward, and then repeat. Now, you might not be able to fit your whole arm. That's okay. I'm just trying to describe the difference in here, in these two positions. Now, if we were doing the pelvic clock, and I'm going to describe it in a different way today, but you would picture that you've got the face of an analog clock on your belly. And 12 o'clock would be above your belly button, and 6 would be down by your pubic bone. And right now, I'm rocking between the two. I'm pressing 12 down when my low back presses to the floor. And then when I rock my pelvis forward, it's like 6 o'clock is going toward the floor. Now, could you come to the middle between those two? So neither is pressing down. And when I do that, I just have the natural curve in my low back. My whole hand can still fit between my low back and the floor. Okay? Not your mid back, not where your ribs are, okay? Your low back, just above your butt. All right. Now, you might not have a big low back curve anymore. There might be things that have happened in your spine. So you're just playing around with this. It might not feel natural to keep that low back curve. So now you can notice your hips on the floor. Okay, so like basically your butt on the floor. And if you imagine that you were wearing pants that had pockets on the back, try to press down your right hip pocket. So the pockets on the back of your pants, imagining that they're there. You could imagine that you've got like almost like a hard candy or a cough drop in that right pocket, and you're smushing it down to the floor. And then try to smush the left pocket down. So the left back of the hip pocket down. And then again, the right. And again, the left. And there's quite a bit of movement happening when I do this. In fact, could you place your hands on the front of your hips? So it would be like this, but I'd be lying down. So my hands are right here on the front of my hips. And as I'm doing this, I'm doing it kneeling. You can see that I've got quite a bit of movement happening, right? I'm moving a lot as I smush one pocket down and then the other pocket down to the floor. And if we were doing the pelvic clock, got a clock right here. This is a tiny clock, but it would be 3 and 9 that are going toward the floor. But I often find that people aren't doing enough movement. They can barely perceive the movement. So see if you can get things moving here. And now your knees are not going side to side. Your knees are maybe moving a little bit forward, but not side to side. I'm going to get a little closer so maybe you can see. I've got my hands on my hip bones, so have your hands there so you can feel it. And I'm pressing down. This is me pressing down my right hip to the floor. You can see my left hand is higher than my right. And then when I press down my left hip, or my left jean pocket behind me, my right hip is higher. Right? So the belly is turning a little bit. But I'm not doing this with my knees. Okay, my knees are staying upright. So just see what kind of feeling you can get in there. So if this is feeling challenging, that's normal. Sometimes it's hard to connect our brain to these deep core muscles to make this happen. And if you look at me, you can see that my hands are moving because they're on my hips, and it's my hips that are moving. The other thing that's moving, if I put a pillow beneath my head, it makes it easier for me to look. But I can see my knees, and my knees are not moving to the sides like some of you were doing. Instead, the hip that lifts, that knee goes just an inch or two forward of the other knee, forward toward my feet. But if you're barely getting any movement, your knees won't move either. So just see if you can get this. Yeah, I see a couple of you starting to get it. Nice. You're just going back. Rotation of the pelvis is what's happening here. And we do want our pelvis to be able to rotate, but if yours is really tight, if you've got a lot of tight ligaments and muscles around it, you might not be getting a lot of movement. Or, as I mentioned before, if your brain is not quite connected to your pelvis, we can rebuild those neuromuscular connections. Okay, let's pause. Let's give that a rest and just take a big inhale. Feel your rib cage expand. And a long exhale. All right, then inhale again. And as you exhale, can you lift both feet off the floor so that the knees are over the hips? Inhale and take your arms out to the sides. And as you exhale, can you let your knees come all the way down to the right on the floor? Now your left shoulder will most likely have to come off the floor when you do this. So take your left hand and just put it on your left ribs. Yeah, put your left hand on your left ribs. Now, you got your head propped up, just look at your knees right now. And you'll notice, most likely, that your left knee is further back than your right knee. Okay, your feet are on the floor. I can't see you guys, so I just want to make sure your feet are grounded and so are your knees. Okay. Now, your left knee is probably further back than your right knee. And all we're going to do is slide that left knee forward ahead of the right knee and then rock it back to place. So slide that left knee forward, and you'll notice you probably have to de-rotate, de-twist a little bit to get that to happen. You might not. You might be able to keep your left shoulder where it is and slide the knee. So if you can, without pain, try that. Try to keep your left shoulder where it is and not move it as you slide the left knee forward, and see if that can happen. Keep breathing. And so it's almost like if you've ever played pool, which I'm sure most of you have at some point, right? So you can imagine that that left knee is almost like the cue stick, and you're just tapping it forward to hit the ball and then letting it slide back. And you're breathing, right? So don't hold your breath. And feel for allowing, so as I slide my top knee forward, I feel my left ribs come forward a little bit, but I'm trying to maintain my upper body as best as I can. Good, just one more. Good. And now let's let that left knee slide to wherever it feels best, and let that left shoulder kind of rock toward the floor. If it feels okay, take your left hand behind your head and inhale. See if you can turn your nose to face the ceiling now, and perhaps roll the left elbow or rock the left elbow toward the floor or toward your pillow. Good, one more breath. And then exhale, release. You're going to keep the feet on the floor and just lift the knees off the floor and straighten yourself out in the center. And just pause there, inhaling and exhaling. Good. Inhaling again. And as you exhale, let's lift both feet off the floor again. Inhale, take your arms out from your shoulders. And as you exhale, can you slowly lower the knees down to your left? Let the feet land too. So you might have to place the feet down first and then let the knees land. And my knees are straight out from my belly button, if that works for you. And now your right shoulder will likely want to come off the floor. So let's place the right hand on your right ribs and just relax the right shoulder. Okay. And now look at your knees. And you'll see that your top knee is likely further back than your bottom knees. The right knee is further back. And now we're just going to start to slide the right knee forward ahead of the left knee and then let it rock back again. And repeat. And just notice, how much does your shoulder have to move in order to slide that knee? How much rotation do you have to lose in your spine in order to line up the knees or even slide it forward? And you can imagine that right knee is like the cue stick here, and you're just tapping it straight forward ahead of the left. And you're not on your side, you're still in a twist, or you're trying to be in a twist. And your feet don't move. Your feet just stay together. It's just the knee that's sliding ahead and back. A couple more. Good. And now let the knee rock back to where it feels natural for you. And now let's turn your head toward the ceiling and let that right shoulder move toward the floor. We'll take the right hand behind the head, if that feels okay on the shoulder, and inhale as you open the elbow, bringing it toward your pillow or toward the floor, and exhale there. Good, and then inhale again. And as you exhale, let's keep the feet on the floor as you lift the knees up off the floor and then straighten yourself out. Taking an inhale there, an umbrella breath, and an exhale. Good. Okay, now we're going to grab our blocks, or if you don't have a block, you can grab your rolled up towel. You want it to be a firm little package. You're going to place it between your knees. Now the width of the block, I have mine the skinny width, but you can have it however it feels best between your knees, where you feel like you can get a squeeze. Okay. Good. Now inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze your block and let's press the low back down to the floor as you lift the feet off the floor. And now I'm finding that I want to take my block a little higher so it's right between the bones of my inner knees. Good. Now right here, just holding knees directly over hips is a little bit of core work. So see if you can feel that. If the knees are in close like this, I have no core work. I'm just using my hip mobility. So instead I'm moving them so that the knees are right over the hips, and now I feel my core engaging. Good. Inhale, and exhale, can you draw your mid back down to the floor? Draw the ribs down. Good. And then inhale, can you take your arms out to the sides? And if you want to, just turn the palms to the floor. And exhale there. Now inhale, let's take the knees just about 6 inches to the left. And then as you exhale, begin your exhale first, and then tighten your abdominal muscles and bring the knees back up to center. And then inhale, take the knees no more than 6 inches to the right. And then begin your exhale, engage your abdominals, and bring the knees to center. Good, repeating. So you could go a little further, but only if you can stay connected to your abdominal muscles. And what can help you do that is if you begin the exhale first and then feel the abdominals tighten to help you lift the knees back to center. And if this is too much on your low back, you're feeling like, I can't handle this, I'm going into my back, then you can do this with your feet on the floor. Same thing, one foot lifts, of course, as you twist, but you can have the feet on the floor too. Okay, so do what is right for your body. And some people might feel like they want to go a little further to the side, and you can do that if you want, but try to keep shifting the top knee forward, like we did in our last little section, right? So the top knee will tend to rock back. See if you can keep rotating it forward or shifting it forward if you're going further to the side. That won't be an issue if you're just going a little bit to the side. Got a couple more here, trying to direct the attention to beginning the exhale, then engaging the abdominals, and then moving. Good, and now coming up to center, letting the feet come to the floor, and let's take our blocks out of the way, or blankets, and widen the feet a little further. Your arms can stay out to the sides, but turn palms up now, and just let the knees windshield wiper side to side. And as you breathe, see what you notice in your abdominal area. Try to relax through your jaw, through your neck. Notice if you were over tightening there. Good. Now coming up to the center here, let's stretch out through the legs and also stretch arms overhead. And just inhale, really reach. See if you can get the arms straight and reach through the heels. And then as you exhale, let's bring the right knee in and catch it with your hands. Good. And then inhale, straighten out arms and legs again. Reaching. And then exhale, bring the left knee in and give it a squeeze. Good. We're going to do 2 more each side. Again, you can begin your exhale before moving. Good. Now, next time you bring the right knee in, let's pause. And inhale to bend the left knee, placing the left foot on the floor. Okay, now let's hold behind the right leg, either with your hands or with a strap. And inhale to kick the leg up to straight. And then exhale to bend it again. And just repeat. And just notice, look at your leg and notice, is it getting fully straight? And if it's not, the next time you get it up there, or even if it is, the next time you get it up there, let's get it fully straight. And if you can't do that while holding it, which is just that you're not flexible enough in that leg to do that, then move it away, let go of it, and move it away a little bit until you can get it straight. And if it feels like a strain in your low back, if you're having to move it, further than, a further angle like this away, it might start to strain your back. You can always prop it on your chair, right? Just put it on a chair or another piece of furniture. And I want you to feel the action of fully straightening your leg. And I still see some bends. Sometimes you don't think it's bent because it's only bent like this much, but that's still bent, right? Can you completely straighten it? And remember, you can use your chair to help you, or any piece of furniture. Good. One more breath. And now, keeping it straight or straight-ish, can you exhale and slowly lower it? You could take more than one breath if you want to, till it gets all the way to the floor. Feel yourself using your abdominal muscles to stabilize as you do that. And once it gets down to the floor, just relax the leg. You can straighten out the other leg next to it. And just notice the difference in sensations in the two sides. Following your breath in and out. Good. And now let's inhale, reach arms overhead and reach through your heels again. And then exhale, let's bring the left knee in and catch it with your hands. And now let's inhale, bend the right knee, placing the foot on the floor. And exhale there. And holding behind the leg, either with your hands or a strap, let's inhale, straighten the leg up toward the ceiling, and exhale, bend it again, and repeat. Now, the next time you get it up there, let's look at it and see if it's fully straight or not. It may or may not be. And if you need to, you can let go of the leg, or you can let go of it even if you don't need to, and move it away from your belly enough so that you can fully get it straight, locking it out. Engaging the quadricep muscles here. Those are the muscles of the thigh. Good. And now, if it has to be far away, it might have to be like this far away to get it straight. You can prop it on a piece of furniture so it's not a strain on your low back. Okay, so just finding where that place is. Take one more breath there. And then as you exhale, begin your exhale, then engage the abdominals and start to lower the leg, keeping it straight all the way to the floor. You can take more than one breath if you'd like. And when you get it to the floor, you can straighten out that other leg to join it, just letting the legs relax and following your breath in and out. Good. Let's bend the knees now and bring both knees in towards your belly. Just give them a hug. You can make circles on your low back if you want, or rock side to side. Now, your choice. You could curl up into a little ball and rock yourself up to seated, or you can roll to your side and come up. Okay. All right, and let's come on to our hands and knees here. And just notice how much pressure your wrists can have today. Okay, so if you've got any wrist weakness or pain, you can always take your weight back like this a little bit so there's less of an extension in the wrist joint. Or if you don't, you can bring it forward so the shoulders are over the wrists. And then everybody press down at the tip of each finger. So almost like you're clawing into the floor with the tips of your fingers, so strongly. And then at the base of each finger as well. Good, and then breathe. Good, and now let's inhale. Try to tilt the tail up and bring your chest forward and maybe even your chin forward if it feels okay on the neck. And then exhale, tuck the tail under, round the spine, and tuck your chin under so you can look between your knees. And repeat. And you can just pad your knees, of course, with a blanket. Or yes, some of you are doing it in seated, that's fine too. One more here. Good. And then just coming into neutral, we're going to have a seat on the floor. So you'll want to be on the floor for this one if you had moved to a seat. And you're going to have your legs out in front of you. And you don't want to sit on anything for this one, okay? So nothing below your hips. And you might have to bend your knees at times for this, okay? So just know that. You might not be able to sit with your legs straight. What we're going to do is we're going to walk on our hips forward. So I've just lifted one half of my hips, moved it forward, and then the other half. So it's like I'm scooching on the floor. One hip, the other hip, until you can't see my feet on the screen anymore. I'm moving out of view. So go ahead and join me if you haven't. And then you can scoot backwards. Okay. We're going to be doing this for quite a bit, so get going. Okay. Get doing it. And you are using your arms as well. You might not be. So let's try to use the arms. Now, I don't want you to think about using the arms. I just want you to think about, just do it. Just do what feels natural. So I just start like moving one arm forward and one arm back, just like I was walking. That's it, you guys. Yeah. And as I do this, you'll just be doing what's natural with your arms. Now, some of you are hanging your head. Can you lift the top of your head toward the ceiling so you're not doing this? Okay. Lift it up, right? Backward and forward. Good. And take a break. Okay, wherever you are, just take a break. You can bend the knees, windshield wiper the knees a little bit. Yeah. All right, who knew that hip walking could be so challenging, right? Can be a little bit challenging. And now we're going to be noticing the rotation in our spine as we do it. Okay, so you can come to wherever you want to start and just walk forward like you were before. And notice that when you walk forward, your chest also is turning. Right? So allow that, accentuate it a little bit. And to accentuate it, you might, instead of just bringing the elbow forward, you might reach the arm forward as well. So this is getting at a lot of core strength here, as well as spinal rotation, which is necessary for walking, hiking, anything we're doing. We want to be able to have spinal rotation that's healthy in order to keep our spine and our back healthy, and also in order to not have problems other areas in our body from walking. Okay, good. All right, take a break. Whew. Okay, and now take your hands just behind your back here. And I've just got my fingers turned out to the side. You can put them however they feel best. And inhale, roll the shoulder heads back. Lift up through the chest. You can lift the head too if you'd like, or the chin. And then exhale, relax. Good. And again, inhale, roll the shoulder heads back. Maybe lift the chin if you want to. Good. And then exhale, relax. All right. We're going to come around into Sphinx pose. So just taking your feet behind you and coming onto your forearms. So if being up on your forearms is too much for your low back, bothers your low back, you can widen the elbows and stack the hands instead. That's an option. Or you can just lie face down too, okay? And now press your pubic bone down to the floor so you can feel your glutes turn on, your butt muscles turn on. And it should take some compression out of the low back when you do that as well. Good. And now, as you inhale, can you spread across your collarbones and just look ahead on the floor a little bit? Yeah, wherever feels okay on the neck. And exhale there. And inhale again. Good. Now, as you exhale, let's reach the left arm forward, bending the right knee And just look around to your right. Good. And then when you take an inhale again, inhale, straightening out back to center. And then exhale, reach the right arm forward and bend the left knee, looking around to your left. Good. And then inhale back to center. Good. And now exhale, can you engage your lower abdominal muscles? And when you do that, you can see in the video here, you can see that my low back comes out of compression a little bit, right? When I engage my lower abdominals. It's like, imagine that the floor was really cold. You were like on a metal table or something, and you wanted to lift away from the floor with your lower abdominals. Nice. And now let's come up. You can use your developmental movement to come up. So you can look towards your right, bend your right knee like you're crawling, and then push into your elbows and use your abdominals to come up. Okay. Now we're not going to be on our knees very long here, but we're just going to do a little bit. If you can't be on your knees at all, you could do a plank with your chair, okay? We're going to do, and I'll show it with knee padding, we're going to do it on the floor. Just a modified. Okay, so what we're gonna do is pad the knees and then come down to the forearms. You can interlace your fingers, and you'll see my butt is really high right now, right? So what I'm gonna do is walk my elbows and chest forward. So my chest is still, my shoulders are still over my elbows, and I'm going to press into them. So my shoulder blades protract, they widen, and my tail is tucked. My butt is no longer high, right? And then just relax your neck and feel like you're trying to move your elbows back towards your knees, but they're not going anywhere. They're just pressing into the floor. One more breath. Now to come out of it, you can walk your knees towards your elbows. And now let's come all the way up to standing. So you can do your bear get up, come onto your feet, roll yourself up slowly, and then reach your arms up toward the ceiling. And exhale, bring the arms out to the sides and down. And then just do that again. So on your inhale, reaching your arms forward and up. And then exhale out to the sides and down. Good, 2 more. Good. And now from here, let's take the feet about shoulders distance apart, arms at your sides. Inhale to stand tall and look higher up on the wall in front of you. And exhale, relax your shoulders. And then inhale again. And as you exhale, let's lean to one side, feeling the texture of your clothing as you lean down. And then inhale back up. And exhale, other side. Good. And then coming back to the center here, is going to swing and twist, and we're going to do it a couple of different ways, okay? So notice how you're doing it just naturally. Maybe both of your feet are planted as you swing, or maybe you're moving one of your feet. Okay, so just notice what you're doing. And now let's do it so when you swing to the right, your left heel lifts so you can turn a little further. And then when you swing to the right, the opposite happens, okay? So you're lifting the opposite heel and see if that gets you further around when you twist. Okay, now just pause for a moment. Now we're going to swing again, but this time when I swing, let's say I swing to the left, I'm going to let my left foot lift a little bit, my left heel or toe, and it's just a little different. Just a different kind of movement. It's actually, I find it better to lift my heel than my toe, but you could lift your toe too. See how that works. Good, and then just coming back to the center, we're going to stand in front of our chair seats now, so you can get it closer to you if you'd like. You could also use the back of your chair, especially if you're really tight in your legs. Like if it's difficult when we were sitting in that long seat to have your legs straight, then you probably should use the back of your chair. In fact, I'll just show that using the back. Like, you know, when we were sitting with our legs straight on the floor and we were doing the butt walk, if you had trouble straightening your legs out, then you should use the back, okay? So what we're gonna do is inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold, taking your hands to the back of the chair. Or you could use the seat, but you know, there's nothing wrong with using the back. That's what I'm gonna use. Okay, now you want your legs to be bent enough so that your spine is in neutral. That means it's not like this, it's not rounded, right? So bend your knees whatever amount you need to be able to find a neutral spine. Okay, and our arms are going to be straight. So walk your hips back, kind of like a chair down dog. And the first thing we're going to do is really straighten and engage the arms as much as possible. So keep your head lifted rather than going between the arms, and look at your arms and try to straighten them all the way. Is it possible? It may or may not be. So really engage the arms and see if you can. Good, keep breathing. And now keeping them that engaged, now you could try to let the head come a little bit lower between the arms. Just notice if you're rounding your back, bend your knees so you don't have to round your back. Good. And now lift your head again to see your hands, and let's walk the hands over to the right side of your chair and just put your left hand on top of your right. So I'm just on a diagonal with my arms. And try to straighten them. Inhale. Exhale. You can try to let your head come between the little slot between your arms, if it will. And now can you slightly bend the knees, everybody? If you're not bending the knees, bend them now. And bend the knees and see if you can turn your chest a little bit to the left. And you can turn your arms too. And now, can you turn your chest toward the floor, and maybe it can go a little bit to the right. And your arms will turn too, and so will your head, because your head's between your arms. And repeat. So your knees are bent. Let me repeat that. Your knees are bent. And your spine is straight-ish, right? It's not rounded, it's neutral. Good, and notice how you bend. If you bend your left knee more, you can look to the right better. And if you bend your right knee more, it'll help you rotate your chest to the left more. Good, and then lift your head again, bending both knees. Walk your hands to center, and then just step forward. Good, let the arms rest. Just notice if this is too much for your shoulders. Being way overhead like that, if you have any rotator cuff injury, you may just need to modify, like give the arms a rest whenever you need to, okay? So really listen to your own shoulders. Watch me for a second, just so that you guys can see it before you do it. So when I come into this position, my hands are on the back of my chair. It works really well that way. And I'm going to walk my legs back and I'm going to bend my knees. I'm lifting my head high so I can feel this straightening out and see if my arms can straighten all the way. Then I'm going to walk my hands. This time it'll be to the left, right? So I'm going to let my head come between my arms if they can. And if I bend my left knee more, I can turn my chest over to look at the camera here. See? And then if I bend my right knee more, I'm looking toward the wall. Okay? All right, so when you're ready, you can inhale, exhale, fold, and step back away from the chair. Bend the knees, looking at your arms, just see if it feels or feel and see if they can get straight without pain. Okay? Then, if that's okay, walk the hands over to the left so the right hand's on top of the left hand. Good, and then if that's all okay, you can take the head between the arms. Bend the knees, inhale, exhale, maybe bend the left knee a little more and try to turn your chest so you're looking to the right. And then bend the right knee and turn so you're looking toward the left. Keep breathing. Good, and then come back, hands to center. Inhale, lift the chest and walk toward the chair as you exhale, letting your arms rest at your sides. You can step away from the chair and just kind of shake them out a little bit, let them swing a little bit. Just move them around. See how that felt. Was it too much? Was it okay? Okay. All right. Now, if you've been using the back of the chair, let's turn it around so now we've got the seat facing us. Good. And inhale, stand tall. And exhale, step your left foot so the foot is underneath the seat. And the right foot, you're going to step so that it's hips distance apart. And then step it back so that the heel is still on the floor, like a warrior one leg. And then let's bend that left knee toward the chair. If at any time you need to straighten the left knee, go ahead, okay? But for right now, we'll keep it bent and then inhale, stand tall. Exhale, let's bring your arms straight out in front of you from your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, I'm going to pull my right arm back right at my rib level, so a little lower than a bow and arrow at the chin. And I'm going to let my chest and my hip turn to the right. Okay? Yeah. Let your hip open too if you can. The foot can adjust if you wanted to. Good. And now inhale. Exhale back to the front. Inhale. Exhale, can you pull the left arm back just at chest level? Your hip won't move on this one. And then inhale back to the center. And exhale, right arm back. And on this one, let that right hip open to the side if it feels okay. Inhale, center. Exhale, left arm back. And you can look to the left too. Inhale, center. Now exhale, pull the right arm back and let's stay here. Okay, let's place the right hand on your right ribs and your left hand on your left thigh. Okay, and then just notice, are your belly button and right hip facing the right? Are they able to? Does that bother your back anywhere? Does it feel okay? Good. Inhale. Exhale, you could lean a bit toward that left arm if you wanted. Good, yeah. Some of you can come to forearm, but it might feel like, even for me, my leg's not back far enough for me to come to my forearm. So I'm going to stay lifted. Good, breathing. Good, and then exhale, slowly come upright. And then you might need to step your feet to help you face the front again. And now inhale, straighten that front leg, give it a rest if you haven't already. Good, and exhale, bend it again. And now we're going to do that same thing. We're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, pull right back. Inhale, center. Exhale, pull left back. And I'm going to start to slant my torso forward as I'm doing this. My knee is touching my chair. And then until I can place my right hand on the chair. So I've leaned so far that I can put that down. And now if you feel like you need to separate your feet more, you can. Good. Inhale. Exhale, pull the left arm back and just put the hand on the hip. And now can you twist your chest to face the left? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And as you exhale, untwist yourself. And you can either step your leg forward first before standing up if you're feeling like you're going into your back too much. Or you can exhale, push into that left heel and stand up through the torso and then step forward. Good. Okay, notice your two sides. Taking a big inhale and an exhale. Good. Inhale again. Exhale. Step the left leg back and inch the right foot under the chair. Bend the front knee. Remember, you can straighten it at any time. Back heel is down. Inhale, arms out in front. Shoulders are relaxed away from ears. Exhale, pull left bow back and let left hip and belly turn. Inhale, center. Exhale, pull right bow back about at rib level. And then center. So exhale as you pull. Inhale, center. Exhale as you pull. Inhale, center. And just notice the difference in the two sides. On the left side, the hip opens. On the right side, it might just shift back a little bit. And you're going slowly, so you're not going into any pain. And your head is lifted high, so you're not hanging your head toward the floor. Good. Now, next time you pull that left one back, let's stay there, okay? And you can just put that left hand on your hip. And now, put your right hand on your thigh. Stand tall. Good. And maybe you can lean a little bit toward the right thigh. Your chest is facing the left. Good. One more breath. Now to exhale, you're going to press down into that right heel to come back up. And then face the front again. And you might need to adjust the feet. Inhale, arms up to shoulder height. Exhale, pull the left arm back. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. And now, this time as I do it, I'm hinging at the hips, coming toward the support of my chair until that left hand can land. And then the right hand can come to the right hip. Right knee bends toward chair, chest turns toward right. Good, breathing. Good. All right, now exhale, untwist. And if your back is feeling tender, just step your back leg forward while you have support. Otherwise, you could press into the front heel and stand. Inhale. Exhale, step the back leg forward. Inhale, let's reach the arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale, hinge towards your chair. Inhale, step to a comfortable spot for a forward fold. So you could stay reaching your spine forward with your knees bent any amount. You could also fold downward toward the chair or the legs or the floor, letting your neck relax. See what feels best in your spine. And let your knees bend as much as feels good to you. Okay, so whatever amount you want to bend your knees to support your back. Good, let's take 2 more breaths there. And 1 more breath. Good, Good. And then taking your hands back to the support of your chair. Inhale, reaching your spine forward. Good. And then exhale, coming down to the floor. So if you can put weight on your knees, you can come down this way, just putting one knee down and then the other. Or you can get a pillow first. Okay. I'm going to use my chair for the next little bit. So you can have your chair right in front of you. You could turn it to the side if you need to. Put your legs over your chair. You can get your head and neck support. In fact, you guys, let's not use the head and neck support just yet unless your throat is opening toward the ceiling. Then put it under there. But what I'm going to do is come into a little bit of a chair bridge. So I'm going to walk my butt back so my heels can push down into the chair. And as I inhale, I'm going to inhale, press my low back to the floor and see if I can lift my hips up. And then exhale, lower down. We're just doing it 2 times, okay? So you want to have not your calves pressing down because that's too hard to get leverage, but your heels pressing down. And then you're resting. You might want, before you rest, you might want to bring your knees into your belly. Yeah, just check in with your low back a little bit. Or if your body wants any other pose, feel free to do that too. And then get yourself as comfortable as possible right now. Letting your shoulders relax, your face soften if you can. Cover your eyes if you want. And just noticing, once again, all of the places you're making contact with the chair, the floor, any pillows or blankets. Noticing where you feel your breath the most. And then letting go of as much effort as you can. Maybe even taking a sigh and noticing what the effects are of your yoga practice today on your body and your state of mind or emotions, on your energy level. And then